What we have here is a model of the male reproductive organs, and it's not a mid-sagittal view, it's actually parasagittal. It is in relief, so we can see some good anatomy here. Where do we start? Well, let's just generally get our bearings. Here's the bladder, right here. This is the sigmoid colon, which has just been sectioned off. You can see the sacrum, you can see the tailbone or coccyx right here, the gluteal fat. Here we have the rectum and the anus, the penis, the scrotum with testes within. What I'd like to do is illustrate for you the pathway that sperm migrate in and show you all the structures on the way, and that way we'll cover most everything. The scrotum is a thermoregulatory organ that contains both testes. This is a testis, plural is testes, or testicle. Atop each testis is the epididymis, which looks in this view just like one sort of solid organ, but in fact it's about 20 feet long. It's a coiled tube that at its distal end, its tail end, turns a bend and becomes the vas deferens or the ductus deferens. Now, the vas deferens will conduct sperm up into the body in this route, up here in what we will see is the spermatic cord. What's the spermatic cord? It's the lifeline to the testis. It's wrapped in the cremaster muscle, and you can see that the testicular artery is in the spermatic cord, and testicular veins are in the spermatic cord, as well as the tube called the vas deferens that conducts sperm up into the body. Goes up here through the inguinal canal. The inguinal canal, if I put my hand here, you can see that there's an oblique opening into the body wall. It's about an inch long with an external and internal ring. It's sort of a weak spot. It's sort of a weak spot in the abdomen, and that's where inguinal hernias occur. But at any rate, the vas deferens comes through, comes around the bladder. Do you know what this is right here? That's the ureter coming down from above into the bladder. So right between comes the vas deferens. Here's the seminal vesicle, which produces an ejaculatory fluid. Now, here's the prostate gland. To see the rest of the anatomy, I need to pull this model apart. Now you're looking at this mid-sagittally. That means equal right and left on the midline. Here comes our vas deferens around. It changes its name as it dives into the prostate gland. It's now called the ejaculatory duct. There, of course, would be two ejaculatory ducts, one from the left, one from the right vas deferens. Here's our bladder. Here's the urethra. You can see that the ejaculatory ducts empty into the urethra. The prostate gland has several tiny ducts that empty directly into the urethra also. Let's follow through here to the base of the penis. Then I'm going to remove the penis so I have a mid-sagittal view of it. The three erectile tissues, well, two of the three can be seen. This is the corpus cavernosum. It's erectile tissue covered with elastic connective tissue, blood vessels within, and the corpus spongiosum. There are two corpora cavernosa, left and right. Here are veins. Here is the glans penis, or head of the penis. This model shows a circumcised individual. Oops. You can see why I'm a teacher, not a surgeon. But the foreskin would act as a sleeve if this were an uncircumcised individual. While we're at it, let's look at the bladder. We can see the walls of the bladder. The bladder has a stretchy mucosa made of transitional epithelium. It allows it to stretch to several times its size without tearing. So that's its mucosa of transitional epithelium. Then we've got a submucosa, which is connective tissue. Then we've got a muscularis. And on the top we have a serosa. On the sides, instead of a smooth, slick serosa of epithelial tissue, we have connective tissue, and that connective tissue is called adventitia. you can see coming into the bladder. You can see coming into the bladder the ureter or ureter, and you can see inferior to the bladder is the prostate gland. You can see enlarged prostate will push on the bladder, causing urgency, but it will also constrict the urethra, which weakens the stream of urine. Something else that's interesting about the male versus the female bladder, this is the internal urethral sphincter. It's just the smooth muscle that is normally contracted unless we're urinating. The external urethral sphincter, which is skeletal muscle, is clear down here on the other side of the prostate gland. It's made of skeletal muscle.